We had some fun where the super straight thing was concerned, because there was a lot of people over on my comment section who were just going absolutely crazy where when I mentioned stuff on super straight. And what you could tell when looking at the comments of that video, which I'll look at in another video, but what you could tell is that people didn't actually listen to the video. People didn't watch the video. Because there were people coming in saying that I wouldn't accept that they were valid, and except I did. I literally pointed out nobody cares about, you know, who you fuck. Nobody cares who you're attracted to. I don't care. I don't care. That there's nothing wrong with that. Your sexuality is valid. You don't want to date trans people? Fine. It's just like not wanting to date people of a particular race. Nobody cares. Nobody can make you date anybody. And now, as evidence that people will not hear that part now that I'm saying it at the very beginning of this video, I bet I will still get super straight people in the comment section of this video arguing that I'm not accepting their validity or some shit. So, what is the actual topic of today's video? And it's not just super straights. It's specifically going to be Blaire White's reaction to super straights. Now, I wonder what side of the fence she's going to come onto. I don't think there's any questions. What side of the fence?
Women that are born women. So you can't say I'm transphobic now because that's just my sexuality, you know?
So if you're heterosexual and you're a man and you said you wouldn't date a trans woman because it's a preference, that's just transphobia, period.
The reason that we're so pissed off about this trend is because it's definitely to make fun of us.
I mean, yes, it is. The dude literally even put in the hashtags of his original TikTok before he took it down. He wasn't trying to make like a valid argument. In his hashtags, he literally put like hashtag funny. Like, he specifically did this as a joke. It is a joke that got 8 million views. And as almost all socially constructed things, when we have a lot of it, it becomes more well known. Anyway, with that said, Blaire is opening up with these little bits here. I'm sure this is going to be how she wants to represent things. So, let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. So, the girls are mad. The girls are fighting. The girls are battling. There is a new sexuality, because of course there always is. Going viral online, getting a lot of popularity and traction, and new people identifying as it, and it is called super straight. So super straight is pretty much exactly as it sounds. It is super straight people. It is people who do not have any attraction to or date trans people. So clearly this is going to be a war. This all started on TikTok, which, follow me on TikTok, by the way. I am on TikTok, unfortunately.
Okay.
So it's only right that we show the video that started it. Here we go.
Yo guys, I made a new sexuality now, actually. It's called super straight, okay? Since straight people, or straight men as myself, I get called transphobic because I wouldn't date a trans woman. You know, they're like, would you date a trans woman? I'm like, no, why? That's a female. No, like, that's not a real woman to me. Like, I want a real woman. No, you're...
Okay, so here's the thing, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. If you are not attracted to trans people, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody can control who or what you're attracted to. If that's it, then that's fine. Here's the problem. If your reason for not wanting to date a trans person is because to you they're not a real woman or a real man, therein lies the issue. Because trans women are real women. Trans men are real men. And this is actually something that is even echoed when you look at the Reddit, which was, of course, banned. But when you look at the Reddit for super straight, this is from the super straight archives before it got taken down. Please abide by the rules of their subreddit. If you are there to argue with us, please be respectful and non-bigoted. Report any rule-breaking comments to our moderators. And we will clean it up lickety-split. Remember, being super straight is about who you love, not who you hate. We accept all people as long as they accept us, and all sexualities are valid as long as they are between consenting partners. We're not transphobic or TERFs or Nazis. Trans women are women, and trans men are men. We just don't want to have sex with them. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly okay. You don't want to have sex with someone? Cool. I don't know why you're telling me, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Blaire White, for instance, is a real woman. She's not a cis woman. And if you want to label super straight as you only want to date cis women, cool. Wonderful. You attached a name to it. We attach names to a lot of things. I may think it's a little weird, but cool. You got it. You did it. But in the video where things started, and this video was posted on February 21st, before a lot of other stuff got started. So this particular video is making the argument that trans women are not real women. In this video, there is my contention. If he's not attracted to trans women, I don't care. If you're not attracted to trans women, I don't care. But if your argument's going to be that they're not real women, therein lies my issue.
Transphobic. So now, I'm super straight. I only date the opposite gender, women, that are born women. So you can't say I'm transphobic now, because that's just my sexuality, you know?
Yeah, if your sexuality just includes, cis women, cool. Nobody cares. But that's not the argument that you made.
This video has amassed millions and millions of views and a ton of responses and has started an entire movement. Apparently they also have their own flag, which I do have to say, I respect the super straights. Like, I'm not super phobic, but I will say those are the colors of Grindr, the gay dating app.
Yeah, I'm actually not gonna lie. That's kind of fucking funny. Now, on this particular note here, we do have these flags, right? Okay, so can I just point out that while this happened about 13-ish days afterwards, there was an attempt to make the super straight flag over on 4chan. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how that turned out. Making this thread before the other one hits the bump limit. Goals. Drive a wedge between, well, you can read the word, and other, well, you can read the word groups. Red pill Zoomers. Use the left's tactics against them. Call them bigots for not accepting super straights. Shitpost on social media. Hit mainstream status. What the fuck is happening? Zoomer TikTok makes a new sexuality called super straight, meaning one is only attracted to the biological sex, meaning no, again, you can read the word. Countering the, you can read the word as well, logic that troons are real women. What do? Spam this shit all over, make memes, retweet SS agents on Twitter, and post it on every site imaginable. This is what we call co-opting. The purpose of this is to take something that, again, if we look at the way it is worded on the Reddit, the first thing to have been taken down where this is concerned, if we look at this just based on what's being worded, this, on its own, is fine. There's nothing wrong with this. But this is co-opting. That is what this is. This is the exact... I actually have that up as well. Boom. To co-opt something. One of the definitions here is to adopt the idea for one's own use. This is a co-opting of the idea. Technically, what goes on over here is a co-opting of the idea as well, because if the idea began on February 21st with a TikTok, then this idea did not include this particular part. The admission that trans women are women and trans men are men. That was not part of the original construction. This is a co-opt as well, but this is a co-opt for good purposes. Just like if you're to co-opt a word that has been used historically to disenfranchise you and people like you, that is a positive form of co-opting. Co-opting is not always a negative thing. This, however, is a negative form of co-opting. Of course, they point out that Kiwi Farms already found out about this, and I believe... Do I have that? I do. Boom. We have the stuff on Kiwi Farms as well here. So this is from the Super Straight Containment Station. Essentially a safe space. Super straight is a newly classified sexuality where an individual only finds sexual attraction to members who were born as the opposite sex. Again, perfectly fine. Nobody cares. If you are going to be a trans person and you're going to make the actual argument, though I've think I've only heard the argument ever made once in my entire life that if somebody will not date you specifically, that's transphobic. Not really big on that particular argument, but none of that matters here. Point is, yes, Kiwi Farms grabbed it as well. So, what else can we find in this particular thread before we get back to Blaire's video? Let's see here. Well, we certainly have more hatred towards trans people here because it is 4chan when people are completely and totally anonymous. The internet doesn't have the ability to punch you in the face. Person here actually admits, though, that using the SS symbol, you know, boom, is not a good idea. It will stop the movement so fucking hard. And of course, there's a whole lot more colorful language being used there that I won't use for obvious reasons. Use safer and, well, more queer symbolism to get more and don't be an idiot, according to this person. So they need to go with something like this. Yay! Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say, when I see that, when I see those colors, there's only one thing that comes to mind, okay? There's only one thing that comes to my mind, and I know you've heard it too. This is all I hear when I see this. Just... That was me trying to close it out, but apparently 1-second videos are hard to close out. Anyway, you all know what that is. And if you don't know what that is, well... anywho. So, they're fighting on 4chan, trying to figure out how best to co-opt the super straight thing. Because the idea, as posted, is to try to drive a wedge between trans people and other LGBTQ groups, and then use it, using progressive language, is a co-opting of progressive language, to try to argue, basically, that trans people should be excluded from other groups. That is the purpose of co-opting it, at least as shown through shit like Kiwi Farms and 4chan, toxic cesspools of the internet that they are. Let's go back to Blaire White. Now that we've gone through all that fun stuff, let's go.
So, you know, I do suggest a rebrand on the flag. So while this clearly started out as a meme and as a joke, it has revealed a lot about the woke side of the LGBT community. A lot of people are really showing their hands and reacting to it as if it wasn't a joke, and now it's kind of become something that isn't even a joke, and now it's serious. It's just... That's the beauty of memes, really. Like, it can start as a meme and then suddenly it's real life. When memes become real life. It has made a lot of people in the trans community and the LGBT community very mad.
The reason that we're so pissed off about this trend is because it's definitely to make fun of us.
That's kind of how it began, yes. Like, even the initial thing, like, Blaire's just ignoring the fact that in the original TikTok, the guy literally said that she wasn't a real woman. This is why you're not supposed to bat for the other side.
Not to be a legitimate thing. The reason that they're saying super straight and making it like a flag and all that stuff is to make us upset. Now on to the legitimacy of that attraction thing. What is the thing that identifies a trans woman over a regular woman? Name something.
And apparently the originator of Super Straight has been getting a ton of death threats from activists, and his mother's business is being threatened with fake reviews, just bombarded. And
okay, now I do want to comment on that stuff. So while, yes, a person being a transphobe on the internet is a bad thing, this kind of vigilante justice towards him, towards his family, that is not okay. If you are the type of person to do this, and you're in my community, then maybe don't. There are better avenues to handle this, better avenues to do this, that don't include doxing people, that don't include harming people, that don't include hurting people. And yes, I understand that trans people are doxed, trans people are hurt, trans people are marginalized, and all this shit happens to them. Yes, I get it. But because that is a thing that happens to one side does not mean that the correct move is to do the exact same thing back. Moreover, if this individual has not doxed someone and this individual has not engaged in that behavior, engaging in that behavior towards him is not a good idea either. Yes, there is a toxic side in the leftist community. Easily. There's no denying that. I've dealt with it as well. But you don't have to be part of that. You can be better than that. At least my opinion is you can be better than that. But, you know, if you don't think that you can be better than that for whatever reason, then, I mean, I guess we can have a conversation about that. Anywho, back to Blaire.
I'm just really confused because why would the community of love and acceptance and that believes in not shaming people for their sexuality be sending death threats? That's weird. To all the people who are super straight, remember, you are transphobic. You are
transphobic if you are using the logic of the original video. If you're using the logic that is shown in what was attempted to be a community here, if you're using this logic, this is not transphobic. This is fine. If you are using this logic, the logic from the original TikTok, then yes. Yes, you are in fact that.
You are desperate for attention.
Yep. I would argue that that is also the case, given evidence that we have available towards that.
You aren't part of the LGBTQ plus community.
Well, that one's correct. Like, okay, so if you have the LGBTQ plus community and you include super straights, at that point, you effectively just have the human race. Because you've got polysexuals in there as well who might only exclusively be attracted to people who are trans. You will end up with just everybody here. Like you've lost the functionality of the identifier. That one's true.
You are making a mockery of the LGBTQ plus community.
That was the original intent of the TikTok, yes.
You aren't oppressed.
Well, correct. Straight people, you're not fucking oppressed, okay? Straight people are not marginalized. I'm sorry. We're not.
Out with it and say you're transphobic. So I think what makes this troll so effective is that it has really lured people into reacting to it as if it's real, and now it kind of is. And the fact that people are upset over this new sexuality being created is a little hypocritical coming from the folks who created abrosexual, demisexual, gerontosexual, gynosexual, intrasexual, callosexual, multisexual.
Are you just gonna read off a list? Yes, sexualities are socially constructed, Blaire. Yes, if you consider yourself super straight, that attraction is just as valid as my demisexuality, even though I'm cis, hetero, whatever the fuck. I don't care. None of it matters. Yes, if you're only attracted to cis people, cool. That's fine. You can't just go, aha. This is like saying when somebody makes money, like when somebody takes money and then uses that money just to circumvent other things, and then you start arguing, well, all money's socially constructed, so that money's just as valid as mine. Well, no, there's another layer to this. We have to also have societal acceptance, because money's value is based entirely on how much it's accepted. Accepted value of money is one of the pieces that cause it to be there. The super straight thing can morph into something that's perfectly fine and normal. But its origins are not that. Its origins are literally a joke.
Homosexual, sapiosexual, and literally hundreds more. I am not exaggerating. There are hundreds. And like, even though super straight is a joke, the irony is that is a lot more valid than a lot of those I just listed. Actually, all of them. Y'all are releasing new sexualities more than I even release videos. Like, it's your full-time job. But you freak out when someone else does it. Make it make sense. It's obviously completely valid to exclude trans people from your dating pool if you're not attracted to them, and anyone who says otherwise is honestly kind of rapey. The fact that people equate it to hatred automatically kind of makes me hate them.
I mean, okay, so look, the reason it gets attributed to hatred automatically is because it began as a way to make fun of people. It began as a way to do that. As a result, yes, my first response, if somebody comes to me and says I'm super straight, because of my knowledge of that movement, my first response is going to be to treat them as if they are a troll. Because that is how that entire thing begins. If you try to, especially when you go and say, oh, no, I'm not one of the trolls. I'm just only attracted to cis females, or I'm just only attracted to cis males. And I go, okay, cool. I accept that. And then you hit me with the but. When you go, but, and then start arguing actual transphobic talking points. So, therein lies my issue. If you say you're super straight, cool. But based on the history of people who have said that in the last few weeks, I'm going to have to assume you are a troll.
Like, I am not attracted to little
You can prove otherwise.
people. Contrary to popular belief, I post all the time with my best friend JC. People think he's my boyfriend. He's not. Like, it doesn't make me ableist or anti-little people if I don't want to date a little person, or if I simply am not attracted to them because I like tall men. God, I love tall men. And even if super straight is a joke, it's still born out of something very real, which is the frustration that people are feeling from having their sexual orientation invalidated to validate the feelings of other people. Like, insisting that you have to be attracted to trans people if you're straight. How can you guys be mad if people who are not attracted to trans people make a new sexuality and they're like, okay, y'all can have straight, I'm super straight then? Like, there have been worse ideas. I'm just gonna say this.
There have been worse ideas, but with many ideas, you need to figure out what their origins are. Take something like eugenics, for example. The idea merely that you can improve humans over time with, selective breeding. That idea is not the worst thing in the world on its own, but then when you look in how it's been implemented and you look at what it actually has done over, like what that idea has had encompassing it over time, then you start to understand that, wait, hold on, no, we literally tried exterminating people because of eugenics. The end result of this particular belief, while it could be harmful on its own in isolation, it's not that. Historically, it's not that, and it's never been on its own in isolation with that issue. The idea of super straight, on its own, in isolation, in a vacuum, is fine. But it has never been in a vacuum. And it's never going to be in a vacuum.
And people can be so mad, I don't care. In my opinion, straight men who are attracted to trans women, they're somewhere on the Kinsey scale, okay? Like, they are not perfectly straight. I'm just gonna...
Wait, so, hold on. If I am only attracted to women, which I am, and I'm also attracted to tomboys, as an example, I am attracted to a woman who might end up having more masculine features, or might present things more masculinely. Does that suddenly mean that I am closer to homosexual? I don't necessarily know. I don't even know if I'd really agree with that. Though, when you try to argue that somebody says that they are heterosexual, and then you say, no, you're somewhere on the Kinsey scale because you want to date a trans person, I don't know if that's really the most effective way to go about this, Blaire. I don't. If a straight guy is attracted to you and they're only attracted to women, that doesn't make them a little gay. I think they're still heterosexual.
I don't care. It is what it is. That
if you don't care, then don't say it.
Includes any man I've ever been with who liked me because I'm trans. They're somewhere on the Kinsey scale. It doesn't make them gay. It doesn't make them bisexual, but they are not clearly 110% straight. And to deny that, why would you deny that?
Well, because I don't agree with it. But maybe it's just because I personally don't attach genitalia alone to what my idea of a woman is. So to me, a woman can have a penis. That doesn't confuse me. So to me, that wouldn't slide me anywhere on the Kinsey scale. My problem with something like the Kinsey scale being used here is you necessarily get to set the goalposts, and you're setting them for somebody else. And that's weird to me. I don't know why he would do that.
maybe straight is the best possible word for you, but you're clearly still 1 or 2 points to the left of perfectly straight on the Kinsey scale, and that's okay.
The Kinsey scale, I mean, yeah, it's okay, but the Kinsey scale is also not an objective measure of things.
Why is every sexual preference okay, except for not finding trans people hot?
That one's okay, too. Like, that one's perfectly fine as well, Blaire. Again, the issue isn't that you can't be super straight. The issue is all the baggage that comes along with it. I don't know how many times I gotta say this.
And as a certified card-carrying trans testicle, I do have to say, I would never want to be with a man who felt like he had to go on a date with me or had to entertain the idea of being with me.
Nobody thinks that they have to go on a date with you, Blaire.
Simply for woke points or to avoid being called a bigot.
Wait. There are people who will date trans people just to gain imaginary woke points? Who? I have never heard of this concept before. Who does this? Who, Blaire? Who? I need to know. Who does this?
That's just pathetic. You really need to have, and as trans people, we should have enough confidence to say, it's okay if I am not your preference. I'm my own preference. I like me. You don't have to like me. Why is everyone so concerned with who's labeled what and who fucks who and blah, blah, blah? Like, mind your business.
Yep, cool. I perfectly agree with that. Except you've ignored the one point in the TikTok video that tried to make the concession that trans women are not real women. When you ignore that point, you're ignoring the part where they are trying to be the ones policing someone else's identity. That part is not okay. But, you know, you can continue to do that, Blaire. Throwing yourself under the bus is what you do best.
Maybe the reason why no one wants to date you isn't because of your gender, but because you're an unlikable.
I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, this sounds like she's arguing against Riley Dennis. This sounds like the straw man she's beating is Riley Dennis. And if that's the case, that's kind of... okay. I want to see Blaire in Contra fight. That's what I want to do. I want to see Blaire in Contra fight.
Consider, for all the straight and non-trans people watching, I'm going to offer you maybe some perspective. Like, I understand, being trans myself, why other trans people do this, like, whole, like, you have to date trans people, you're transphobic, you're a bigot. I understand why they do it. It's born out of severe insecurity. It's born out of the need to seek validation from others. Some trans people, insecure trans people, really, really, really need to believe that they are 100% man or woman, depending on where they're transitioning to. And they may get that validation.
Unless they're trans and they're not transitioning. Because trans just means you're not cis, Blaire. Trans does not mean you're transitioning. It's not shorthand for transitioning. This is not a confusing thing. But okay, it's literally you're either cis or you're trans. You identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth or you don't. Like, that's it. That's it.
From people that they're dating or people they're pursuing or are pursuing them. But that's toxic, trans or not trans. You should not get validation from men. I do agree with that, though. As somebody who's been to therapy, I can honestly say that if the only way that you can seek validation for yourself is through other people, that is not healthy. You need to be able to do that on your own for yourself, because you will not always be in a situation where someone else can validate you. I'm going to have to be the person that tries to bend over backwards and accept that, yeah, there are some points where Blaire makes a good point, and that's right here. To validate myself by exclaiming how bad straight men want me. I don't need to validate myself by saying gay men don't want me. I know who wants me. I know who doesn't want me. Your husband wants me. Just kidding. You have to just be okay with you. And if you're not...
that was actually a good joke. Like, I actually am not going to lie there.
Okay with you, then you probably are going to be the type that thinks that people who don't want to date you have some kind of hatred or have it out for you. Interestingly, there's also a super gay and super lesbian hashtag that's growing, because this isn't even just about straight people. Like, this also applies to gays and lesbians. Like, lesbians who are not attracted to trans women, gay men who are not attracted to trans men. these people are being told they have to be as well. And it's honestly one of the most toxic elements of the whole gender ideology debate. Anytime you're trying to control or police who dates who has sexual relations with who, like, you're creepy and you're a problem.
Okay, I can agree with that, but Blaire, how do you feel about people who try to police that other people are or are not really their identity? How do you feel about those people, Blaire? That part matters here. That part does kind of matter here.
I remember growing up when there was a lot more common to have, like, you know, evangelical and super religious people trying to police how gay people shouldn't be with, you know, members of the same sex. And, you know, I hated that and I fought against that. That's a little less common now than y'all, little wokies, who are trying to police now sexuality and who is with who.
Nah, no, it's actually not less common. I live in the South, Blaire. I can tell you it's not less common. From experience. But, okay, look. I don't think we're going to get too much more out of Blaire's video here, aside from her regurgitating the same point over and over again. So, let me make it perfectly clear. My position on this, not that this is the last time we're going to be talking about this, but let me make my position perfectly clear. If you are not attracted to trans people, you consider yourself super straight, super bi, or fucking super lesbian, I don't care. You're fine. You're valid. Whatever. My issue is not with that attraction. My issue is not with who you're attracted to. I'm not trying to tell you to date a particular person or a particular type of person. And anybody who is trying to say that, I am against just as much as you. However, there is more attached to that particular ideology, as hopefully I've argued in this video, and that is what I have an issue with. My problem is not with your attraction. My problem is with the logic. And you might not even share that logic. If you consider yourself super straight, but you consider trans women or women, cool. We agree on practically all fronts. Oh, wow. Holy shit. What a concept. I can't wait to go over the comment section of that super straight video that I did, though, because it's a ride. It's an absolute ride. So, with all that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section below, and let me know by hitting the like button if you have the wherewithal to do so, though if you're watching the video, you do. Also, if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification icon, and if you don't want to subscribe, do it anyway. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to. But, like, seriously. Do it anyway. You should definitely subscribe. That's a thing that you should do. 110%. Subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Insert end of video tagline here.